Today I wanted to talk to you about how not to teach your kids to be responsible with credit cards. So I recently did an interview for creditcards.com, and they were doing an article taking the spin on the reverse side, things not to do to teach your kids to be responsible with credit cards. So I had kind of polled some clients and friends, and I was asking, like, what are things that you've seen? What have you done with your kids or that you experienced growing up? And I got a ton of response. Thank you, everyone. It was really fun to have that conversation with you all. But a lot of the comments were things to do, like what do you do to teach your kids to be responsible with credit cards? And so I really wanted to kind of flip that conversation on its head and talk about some of the things that I have run across, that I have experienced myself, that I've seen with other friends and clients, and that really is like what we do and what we see and experience that teaches us how not to be responsible, how to be irresponsible with credit cards, and what we're really teaching our children. So those of you that are just hopping on and you don't know me, my name is Jill Emanuel. I'm a financial coach, and I help people take the stress out of money, manage their day-to-day spending, and really learn how to have a totally kick-ass money plan and hit their financial goals like a ninja. So anyway, today we are talking about how not to teach your kids to be responsible with credit cards. And as a parent, it's definitely something that I'm really conscientious about. So my husband and I, we have 2 boys, and they're still, thank goodness, far too young to use credit cards on their own. They're 6 and 8. But we definitely do teach them, even from this early age, about cash and about learning how to strategically use their money for things, to save up for their goals, to be able to kind of rationally make purchasing decisions that, they might want a toy and they have to evaluate, like, how much money do I have now? How much money do I have to save to get it? Is it worth me buying this now if I want to get the thing that I really want? So even from this really young age, they're already making those kind of mature, high-level purchasing decisions because they are very aware of cash and that there is a value exchange between the thing that you purchase and what you have to give for that purchase, right? So during this interview with creditcards.com, we did talk about what not to do, what things are the big mistakes. And so here are just a few of the things that we discussed during that call. So one of the things that we talked about was please do not just give your kids a credit card and let them go wild with it. And I know you're not saying, like, here, go get everything you want. But the reality is that there are a lot of kids, high school and college age, that now they're getting cards from their parents, and it's kind of their, go get gas. If they're going to Starbucks, if they have to go shopping for clothes, it's like, don't bug me with asking for money for everything. Like, this is your card, you get your own stuff with it, so we don't have to worry about that, right? So here's where that's a challenge and why that's a problem. Because kids, they're learning this concept of money from us from a young age. And if they haven't been taught growing up and they're given this card and have free reign to go and purchase things, they never ever really develop this connection between the thing that they're buying and the value that they have to give in order to receive that item. So it really creates this major disconnect. And even for myself, I remember my parents, even with a debit card when I was growing up, right? And so a debit card is connected to the bank. It's not a credit card. They're not getting in debt using it. But I still remember from when I was growing up that when we would go shopping or we would want to do something or whatever, and my parents would be like, no, we're not going to do that, or we don't have money for that right now. And likely they were just like, are you kidding me? We're not buying you this toy or whatever it is that you want, right? But I still remember saying to them, well, why don't you just go and use that card? Why don't you go to the ATM and just get money out of it? All you have to do is put that card in and you get money. Like, there was this major disconnect that the card gave money because it was money they already had. I just thought like there's this awesome money box, right? And you can put a card inside of it and you enter your number and it gives you whatever you want. And so that is just so true. And that's how kids think. Like we don't know any better as children. And it does just seem like there is this giant pile of money underneath the ATM machine and you may request whatever you want and it's duty to give it to you. So when we give our kids a card and we just let them go wild with it, or we just let them spend it on whatever it is that they spend their allowance or whatever it is, we're really teaching them that there's just this pile of money under the ground somewhere and it just pays for everything that you could need and want. And they never really develop that responsibility of knowing there's a bill attached to this. This is something that actually requires some responsibility and conscientiousness of knowing what's happening. So definitely, there are ways to allow our kids to use credit cards, but please do not just give your kids your card or their own card and say, this is yours and we'll just pay the bill at the end of the month. They need to learn some of those responsible habits and the ways that it actually works, how to handle that to be successful as adults. And ultimately, that is our goal as parents, right? We are so blessed to be raising these little humans and helping to mold them and educate them and just put them on the best possible road for success as adults so that they can really contribute and give back to this wonderful world that we live in. And we are doing them a huge disservice if we are not teaching them these essential skills of managing their money as an adult. Okay, so that was one of the things that I had talked about, was just not letting them run wild with it. Don't let the bill come due and they never even see it, right? Like they need to sit down and see how much they spent that month or that week or whatever it is. You need to have a set deadline, a set amount of money maybe that they're allowed to spend. Like you could use the card as a teaching tool in lieu of doing an allowance, right? So you're teaching them, hey, you have $50 a month or $100 a month or whatever it is that you decide is a reasonable amount of allowance to pay for their gas or whatever it is that you're willing to take on, right? And you say, this is your card for convenience. You can only spend this amount. Get them the app so they can look on their own phone and they can check and track how much they've spent. If they go over, they lose the card the next month, right? So teach them some responsibility, teach them how to track it themselves, how to follow their spending. And then at the end of that period, sit down with them and say, this is how we pay the bill. Let's go over it. Let's review what we did. We're going to see if this dollar amount is working for you. We're going to pay the bill. I want to make sure that you learn how to do that process, right? Because they need to see the full circle of they make the purchase and then what happens on the back end. It's not like some little magic fairy comes and makes it all better and makes it go away. It's not going to work that way. They're going to get in major trouble as adults if they believe that some fairy is going to come and erase anything that they put on the credit card. It doesn't work that way. So teach them. Let's teach them to be responsible. Let's teach them to be successful, okay? So the other thing that I hear a lot is people that say, don't ever let them have it. Don't ever let them have it. It's cash only. We teach them to save for everything. They don't touch a credit card. They will never touch a credit card. They know it's a forbidden thing. It's not going to work for them. Okay, that's great. I teach my kids to save for things too. But the reality is that anything that we create as taboo as parents and we just say flat across the line, don't do it. It's not good. Stay away from it. They're going to do it. Okay. They are going to do it. Unless they're my husband, who he was the ultimate rule follower. If you said don't do it, he was like, okay, yes, sir, I won't. I obey. I, on the other hand, was the kid and the adult. I still am the one that they're like, don't do it. And if they can't give me a really good reason, I'm going to go find out for myself. Okay? I am going to find out for myself. Why isn't that a good idea? I think it sounds like a good idea. I'm going to try it. And that's what these kids are thinking when parents are saying, don't ever do it, stay away from it, And then they get off to college and all their friends have credit cards and they see how easy it is for them to go shopping or go out with their friends, and they can't do it because they don't have a card. And what do you think they're going to do? They're going to go sign up for a credit card, and they're not going to know how to use it because they've never been taught. Okay? So it is our responsibility as parents to teach them to be responsible. So what not to do is to tell them never, ever, ever, ever stay away. We're not having this conversation. That's what not to do. We don't want to do that. We need to teach them how to use it, why it has some value, why it can be dangerous, why it can get them into trouble, how it can actually provide some convenience and bonuses if they learn to use it appropriately, right? So that's what we need to do, okay? So I just thought it was a different spin on the story. I definitely wanted to have a little bit of conversation with you all about that. So what not to do. If you guys have more ideas of what not to do as parents, don't give your kid a credit card, let them go on vacation and pay it off for them and they never see the bill. That's what's not to do. So shoot me a message. Let me know what you think. If you've got other ideas on how we can teach our kids how to be more responsible as adults, how to responsibly use credit cards, and what not to do, that's teaching them how not to be responsible with cards. I would love to hear it. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like, let me know that you checked this out. You can find me on Facebook or on Instagram at Hey Jill Emanuel, and stop on by and see what's happening. All right, talk to you later. Bye.